guys can even hear me over all this rain and my windshield wipers. It is storming where I'm at. So I just wanted to check in with y'all and say hey. And I just wanted to share, whenever God downloads something positive into my spirit than I could have ever expected, your girl is thriving on her own. And when I say on my own, I don't mean without support. I mean in her own business, in her own space. And I'm so very blessed about that. I'm so very happy and thankful and grateful. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about being in the grateful mindset. A lot of times when you're going through things, being grateful is so difficult because you don't see, wishing they were where you're at. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not, but somebody somewhere is wishing that they were where you at. They're wishing that they were in your shoes. They're wishing they could feel your shoes. And so life and be grateful. Everything happens for a reason. Even when it's bad. Even when it doesn't align with what our plans were. My grandmother used to always say, if you want to make God. So now I just trust God, and I try my best not to ask questions. That's not always easy. Because I want to know, okay, we going, but how are we going to get there? Okay, we're going to reach this destination, but what's the route we're going to take? And really, that takes us back to leaning not to thine own understanding. So anyway, y'all, I just wanted to get on here real quick and talk about that and just let y'all know real quick, just be grateful no matter what you do. Because if you're not grateful, I honestly feel like sometimes God wants to test us and see if we're grateful in the space that we're in, to see if we're prepared for the blessings to come. Meaning that sometimes when you're down and out and you can't see the light and you don't see anything positive happening in your life, you need to find that thing that makes you happy, that's going well. Even if it's something as small as, I don't know, somebody gave you some free food. The other day, I was so hungry. I was outdoor dashing with my son, and I was so hungry, and I didn't want to spend any money, but I was too far away from the house to grab something to eat, right? So I went to Wendy's with my son, got a biggie bag. We split it. I had a potato and half of a sandwich. He had the other half of the sandwich, the nuggets and the fries. And I let him have the drink. I already had some water. Okay? So it was an $8 biggie bag. I really wanted this biggie bag, right? I think with the small fry, it might have been like $12 or something like that. I forget. But I really wanted this biggie bag. So I order it and I pull up to the window and the girl says, your total is $15 and something cents. So I'm like, wait a minute. That's kind of expensive. Why is it $15? And anyway, long story short, the young lady got my order wrong. And I guess, unfortunately, she was having a... So she said, well, you ordered such and such and such. And I said, I'm sorry, but you must have misunderstood. I didn't order that. And she said, well, what you want? You want your money back? And I said, I just like my food, please. Thank you. And I could tell, like, her energy was she had a bad day. And I didn't take it personally because I worked in customer service. I know how that goes. What ended up happening, the girl showed out so bad that the manager gave me my money back and then gave me the food for free. Now, I could have complained about the service. I could have complained about the girl's attitude. But I was just grateful that I got the food. And on top of that, I ain't had to pay for it. Like, I was so grateful for my little $8 biggie bag. And some people will say, well, that's so small. Why would you be grateful for a Wendy's biggie bag? Because I didn't want to spend any money. I've been trying to save money for this business. So that might seem small to somebody that, you know, is used to going to the Ocean Air or Steak 48. They're like, you happy about a burger and fast food? Yep, I was, because I was hungry. Because I know what it's like to go hungry. I know what it's like to go without. I know what it's like for your lights to get cut off. I know what it's like to be stuck on the side of the road with no gas in your car. I know what it's like to sleep in your car. Been there, done that. Okay? So everything in my life that I have now, it may not be where I want it to be, but I am so grateful that I got a roof over my head. I'm grateful that our lights ain't going to get cut off because I'm making money. I'm grateful that I can put gas in my car. I'm grateful I can go wash my car. Even when I don't want to wash my car, I wash my car. Is it an older car? Yes, it is. I take care of it like she's brand new, fresh off the lot. I'm thankful because I know what it's like to not have a vehicle and not have transportation, especially when you have children. So I know what it's like to have $2 in your bank account. I'm not ashamed of that because it made me so much better. And so I walk in gratitude every day. There are so many mornings when, you don't want to get up, you don't feel like it. Maybe you slept the wrong way, you slept hard, whatever. You're like, man, I don't want to go to work. I am so glad that I get to wake up, that I get to open my eyes, because I'll be 47 this year. And I have lost so many people my age and younger. I have lost clients of mine that were in their 20s. Some of my clients have lost their children, their husbands, their moms and dads. I've lost clients of mine that are my age, classmates, family members. So for me, I am grateful every morning I wake up. Some mornings, it's a whole lot harder than others to get up out that bed. I ain't going to tell you no lie. I be hugging that pillow, and me and that pillow be in a whole relationship. But I am so grateful and glad that I'm able to get out of the bed. 3 years ago, I broke my foot, and for 6 months, I couldn't put any weight on it. You don't realize how hard it is to move around when you got to do it on one leg. You don't realize how hard it is just to take a shower or go to the bathroom or go pee or just stand at the sink and wash your hands when you got to balance on one leg and the other leg on a knee scooter or a crutch. So now that I walk around, like today it's raining, does my foot hurt? Yes, because I have a plate and screws in it. It gets a little achy, a little sore. But baby, I am so glad that I can stand on it and move around like I need to. I might be a little bit sore. I might be a little bit slower than usual, but I'm moving. So I'm grateful. And I say this not to be facetious or just to be saying something. I really live this. God really had to let me fall to the bottom of the bottom. I broke my foot. I was on workers' comp. I was getting meager earnings. I have 2 kids. I'm a single mom. Right before I had foot surgery, my ex-husband suddenly passed away. And we had a very tumultuous relationship, and things were not settled. So I had to deal with all that. And on top of dealing with grief from my then 7-year-old son who had just lost his father. So, and it brought up all those old feelings from the relationship that we had. So I had all this stuff going on. I have this foot surgery. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to focus on getting better. I try to focus on getting better. My foot gets infected. I become borderline septic. I have to have a PICC line and a second surgery, which takes me out of my job for 11 months. When I get back to my job, things are cool, but they're a little weird. Because what I realize is when you're on a workers' comp case, your job will always treat you a little funny. And nobody came out and said it, but it was felt. So it's like my job was on thin ice. My emotions were all over the place. In the midst of that, my son was graduating from high school, going to college. It was just a lot of things all on top of each other. And I was overwhelmed. And it was like God had to break me down and let me know, like, you don't have nobody else but me. Like, yes, I have family support, and I'm very blessed. But as far as dealing with all these things, I had to go internally and deal with them. And I had nobody to truly go to but God. So, yeah. Anyway, I just want to tell y'all to be that, even when things are down, there's something good in your life. Maybe your rent is late, but, you the week or so. So you might have to pay a late fee, but hey, you're going to be many things that we can be grateful for, but for me, it's being grateful for simply in the morning. I'm so grateful, thankful, and I hope you are. Anyway, I pray that everybody under the sound of my voice has an amazing rest of their Tuesday. I continue to be peaceful, prosperous, purposeful, all those good things. And if you got anything from the things I just said, from my content, please go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and like the live. Hit replay. Listen as many times as you want. You can just binge all the videos. I am a rising YouTuber trying to make something shake for my household. And I appreciate you being here. Peace and blessings, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Oh, God.